Okay, and let's go ahead and get the view going. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to get started right now. So when I share my screen, I like to share one thing with you. See if I can get this right. Okay, let's see. Well, I stop sharing for a second. See while this is not showing up for me. Hold 1 second. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, let's go ahead and share. I don't know why that's doing that. Okay, let's just go back here. Let's go ahead and exit out of here, and we will get this started in just a little bit. We were going over some things that you can do to get your mindset right for being a millionaire, which is one of the things we look at doing. Let me exit out of here in this one, and here we go. All right, let's go to the one we want for right now, which is this. And let me let in. So we are all about the 5 top industries with the fast, affordable, easy wins. And I mean easy. Now, that's easy compared to what we need to do to win. So I'm going to keep on admitting others in. It's not easy as far as just like you don't even have to do anything, but it's easy as far as one of the things I like to focus on as an avenue for you guys to win. And I'm going to talk about the main avenues that I would highly suggest for winning a contract. Now, the goal is to win your first contract within 2 weeks to 90 days, and then continue to win your second and your third one. You want to focus on getting 3 contracts under your belt, whether $1,000, $2,500, doesn't matter. That's the goal. 1, then 2, then 3. Once you have 3 past performances, you're on your way. And I have this flow chart I'll kind of share with you, a flow chart that I'll share with you in a second. So once again, I am Mrs. M, and I'm going to share with you exactly some of the steps that I've taken to get to where I was when it came to government contracting. So these are all updated for the changes for 2025 because there's been quite a few changes. I'm going to speak about those as well. So we know that government is not a secret, but it is a process. And it is a process that can take you to a nice amount of money, even still now, even with all the changes. And I'm going to talk about those easier ways to win. So I'm your host, Mrs. M. Thank you for joining me. And I'm so excited to share with you some things that I've done. What I'm going to share with you is my exact framework that I used when I got started. And then I moved to the DC area and continue to grow my business with government contracts. And then since then, I've been so fortunate to share my framework with others that have used that exact same framework to build their business to some over and up to high 6 figures and up to 7. Well, we just want to concentrate on winning our first or our second or our third. That's what we want to look at. So, like I said, our students have been able to win over $252 million in government contracts with one framework. And I'm reading this book right now. It's called, let's see if I can remember the name of it. It's called The One Thing. The One Thing. And I love it because it's very simple, but very complex at the same time. When I started doing really well with government, I really focused on one framework, which I'm going to tell you what that is, one offer, and I did narrow down to one NAICS code. That was 561210. So I love the theory of 111. A lot of people do so many things and they don't realize that the one advantage we have as a small business is focusing on being specialized. And that's why you want to really focus on one. The 111 is a great concept in anything. Once you find success with that one thing, it's easier to duplicate it and move really fast. So we have quite a few case studies of individuals that have won. This is one with Isaiah, and that's him. You can look at him on Facebook or YouTube. That's his story. He had no contracts. He implemented our framework, and he won a contract within 2 weeks, cleaning a naval ship and doing the middleman. And then we have Bree, who took our workshops and like what you guys are doing. She used our framework and she specializes in pooled contracts, which are contracts where you actually get 10, about 9 or 10 chances to win because each one has a line item and all the money is pooled together. So you might have one agency on one, another agency. And so that's what gives you all those options. She specialized in the one thing, which was debris management, picking up debris. That's the one thing she focused on after she was doing several things, wasn't working for her. She ended up coming. We talked about the framework I'm going to share with you in just a second that worked for me and for her and Isaiah. And that's where we really focus on. This one framework has everything in it to get you to the next level and beyond. All right. And that's what Bree did. So my story is I was in the Air Force for over 12 years, opened a boutique, but the money was hard. The lifestyle was tough. Had to be in the store. It wasn't a lot of freedom. It wasn't a lot of profit. And the big thing is, it wasn't a lot of freedom. So I knew that I wanted to have a business, like a lot of you who are here right now. I knew that I wanted to experience having freedom, but I knew I wanted to make it a very viable business and not a side hustle. And there's a big difference in a side hustle and a business. One of the big differences is systems. When you have a side hustle, you just kind of go, from it with the true word of a side hustle is when you're just going about to see your pants. You really don't know what you're doing. You're just kind of going with it. It's usually just you by yourself, as opposed to a business where you have systems and operations and procedures, and you can follow them, and someone else can. Where you can leave that business for up to a month and it still runs without you. And that's the beauty of the middleman, where you can get subcontractors or employees to do the work for you. So after being in the military and then getting out and trying several different things as far as business, I realized that I wanted to add government. I moved to the DC area from Florida, and I wanted to add government because I ended up seeing a lot of people doing government contracts. But the problem is I didn't know where to start. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know if I should get the capability statement first or do the website first. Do I do the relationship building first or do I get the subcontractors? So the biggest thing was where to start, who to talk to, how to build the relationships. And I wasted a lot of time. I mean, like months trying to figure that out. So I don't know if you've been through that. You hear people say, well, have 7 Naics codes. No, 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 no. You only need 2. Try to build the relationships. No, 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 no. Build the website first. Get the certifications. So you don't know what to do. That was the biggest problem for me. So I struggled with getting started, even though I felt like I was doing everything right. I wasn't making any headway. Got all, you hear about getting the cage code and your UEI and meeting all these requirements, but still couldn't quite get it to where there was any momentum. So I don't know if you've been in that situation. You've had your cage code for a while. You're still trying to figure out what to do next. And so you feel like you're in a circle. So what I realized was that after understanding all of the different things and nothing was working, I started looking at several pieces that stood out. The first piece was this, and this is what it was. The offer. I noticed that if I offered the right thing to the right buyer, which I'm going to share with you guys the right Naics codes, the top ones, with the right buyer, I had to then understand that if I offered the right thing with the buyer. Now, notice I didn't say services. I said offer. One of the mistakes a lot of you make is that you're providing a service, but not an offer. An offer solves a problem. A product or service, you're just selling. So I realized that they didn't care if I was just trying to solve, like if it was just like selling something. They cared about me solving a problem. That was the first clue. when I started talking to the buyers and they would give me several things that were going on with their agency, let's say the Department of Homeland Security or DHS, which you'll understand in a minute, I started seeing that the offer is where it all starts. Are my next codes right? Do I have too many? Does it look like I'm trying to be, spread out too far? Am I specialized or am I generalized? The offer, the offer, the offer. If you offer correctly, and like I said, I'm giving you the high level, not the eye level. So the high level means you want to make sure you offer correctly. You want to make sure that you narrow it down so it doesn't sound like you're trying to do everything, but you're not doing anything right. That's what takes you from selling, selling, selling to solving, solving, solving. So the first step was I figured out that part. Then I figured out the buyer piece. There are certain agencies, like you're going to understand, where certain Naics codes that they're going to want you because this is what they're buying. You're attractive to them, you're visible to them, and they want you. That took a minute because I had to match what I had to what they wanted. I had to understand their language and I had to understand that. The second thing was, how was I going to win? That's really big. If you don't have any past performances, and I'm going to share with you this chart that we use with our students. If you don't have any past performances, you're not going to go after certain agencies. You're not going to really focus on certain Naics codes, but definitely not certain agencies because you haven't won anything. Certain agencies are not going to even pay you any attention because you don't have any past performances. There are several agencies that look for new businesses like yours or businesses that have very little past performance or that have won smaller amount of contracts. So that's what we want to focus on. And then there's a certain dollar amount that they look at. What is that dollar amount? It is 10,000 and under and 25,000 to 250,000. That is where you want to focus that amount of money until you have three, and I mean three past performances from one agency. That's the key. Then, of course, you want to look at building those relationships. Now, you don't want to build the relationships until you have the offer. You don't want to look at building a relationship until you know the buyer is. You don't want to look at building relationships until you know what avenue you want to win. That's why the order is important. You want to look at building the relationships. And then once you've built the relationships, the last piece of my framework is teaming up with other small businesses. And that's so important when you're looking at doing disaster recovery contracts, which is one of my favorite ways to win through the state as opposed to not necessarily through FEMA. And the reason why you want to team up is because if you live in one state and you team up with someone that lives in another state, we do business in Florida. So let's say you teamed up with us and we were the prime and you were the sub. That works out really, really well because then you don't have to be registered in that actual state. But if you notice you're starting to do business there, you might want to get registered there. So the teaming is important. This particular formula, this particular framework is everything I use to scale my business to reach over $1 million. Is everything that our customers, our clients, and our students have used because everything's in it. And the key is if you're not winning contracts, one of these areas is not meshing. Now, offer includes your requirements, makes sure you're registered with SAM right, making sure that you have your DSBS. All that's a part of your offer. You have to be attractive. That's a part of your offer. So if you're not registered right, your offer isn't right. If you don't have that signature statement that you're going to say, or that signature, I always say your secret sauce, your signature offer, if you don't have that right, then your offer is not right. You can offer everything all the time, but you're not getting responses because you don't know how to speak the lingo to the buyer. So you don't know what to say to your buyer. You don't know what their problems are. So you're not addressing anything. And trust me, every day, I'd say at least 250, 300,000 people get their cage code every single day. So if you are one of the millions that have their cage code and you're one of the millions that has no past performance, and you're one of the millions that's trying to get with Health and Human Services, or you're trying to get with Department of Justice, or you're trying to get with one of the other ones, USDA, then you're going to sound the same, look the same, all of that. You have nothing that makes you stand out. One of the things we talk about with our students is having a signature offer. That means you created a proprietary offer. Mine was EEP, Encore Enhanced Program. That was my proprietary name. My buyer was VA, and then I went with GSA, and then I went with Department of Homeland Security. My avenue to win, I focused on micro purchases at first. I did local medical, which I'm going to share with you how to get in there. I had a script that I used until I tweaked it. And once I tweaked it, how did I know it was working? Because I started getting a response. You're not going to know unless you send it out there. And if you send it out there and you're not getting a response, you're not doing one of these things. Your offer isn't good, and your CAPE statement is too weak, or you look like you're all everywhere, or you don't have an offer, or you're not really connecting with your buyer. Maybe you're trying to do an industry day, but you first have to start with sending them an email so you take them from cold to warm. You got to know what order to do that in. All of that in this 5-step framework is everything. So once I was able to do that, we found success, set up our systems, and we didn't look back. I started leveraging employees because you only have one you. You'll never get there with just yourself. You're going to have to use automation, and you're going to have to do delegation. And then some things you're going to have to delete. So just remember ADD, automate, delegate, delete. That's where you're going to find your success. So one of the things we talk about is, if you stay to the end, I'm going to share with you the framework. And if you've been struggling, you're not connecting. There's a reason why you're not connecting. And the reason could be you have some external things going on. You're like, you feel if that framework probably wouldn't work for you. You just couldn't come up with a proprietary name, or it's just not going to work for you. That may be one thing, that what the government requires you to do, you just don't think you can do it. It's definitely easy when you have it all framed out. As you can see that. You just follow those steps. The next is there's something going on internally. You've either said that you can't really understand the pricing, or you're not really great at proposals, but there's some reason why you're not connecting. And usually it's the ones I mentioned. You just think it's harder than what it really is because you haven't set up anything. So when you find yourself struggling, like I spent a lot of money and I spent a lot of time. And no matter what, I came back to that same framework. And once I figured that out, I got over that wall and my journey began. So if you're doing that, then you're probably struggling because your offer is not valuable, or your buyer not connecting, or you don't have a good avenue that fits you. You're trying to do something, but you need to pass performance with the one you're trying to do, or your relationships are connecting, or you don't have a team. Is one of those things. One of those reasons why. So that's the thing you want to make sure that you first identify what is holding you back, because it's usually you're trying to go after a proposal and you're not there yet. You're trying to do a quote and you don't know how to do pricing. So normally there's something you're doing, and that means the avenue is not fitting you. If you don't have the knowledge on how to go and find the previous bids, then you're probably not ready to do that part. You might want to focus on doing no bids, where someone finds you and they give you the pricing, or they find you and you don't have to bid. A no bid it's like when you're not competing. It can be awarded to you, and that's based a lot on two things: the relationship that you're able to build and how visible and attractive you are. That's normally what it is. But kind of look at that. Which one of those do you fit in if you haven't won a contract, or if you only won one? Now, if you won 3 and you're doing about 10K a month, then you're doing fine. And I'm going to make sure I share that chart with you guys as well. So after I did my framework and I kept going and doing it and messing it up and doing it and messing up, I realized that there was that framework that I went through. I was able then to just keep on going. I hired my team. I used my framework. I started teaching people. We use the framework. And like I said, when we start doing that, I was able to work with a lot of Naics codes and do a lot of agencies, but I wasn't able to do that until I got success with the same thing. The one Naics code that brought me success was the facility support services because it had staffing, it had janitorial, it had landscaping, it had unarmed security. So I was able to do all of that with that one Naics code. That's why I loved it. So from there, we have been able to really get our students success. It's just a couple of photos of us doing a lot of networking, sharing. I do conferences twice a year, training for free for all my students. You just have to come visit me in DC. Once a year, I do a free training, and we get contracting officers normally will come and we get it in. So that's what I love about it. This is us at our dinners. This is a free training around, like a round table training with all the people that are in this group. I think every one of them has won a contract. And this is us outside my corporate office. And this is my special group, my black belt group. These are the ones that are like a little bit higher in the chain. They're actually going towards 7 figures. We focus on 6 on this level, but they do like the 7 figures. So we've been very fortunate. And this is for anyone that's tired of working a 9 to 5. You have a business, but you're not making any money. So it feels like a hobby. And you're really, really, really ready to know what it takes. So first, let's get started with what is the average time before I get ready to give you a couple more things that we're going to make sure I'm mindful of the time. So the average time frame, what is the average time, Miss M, that someone wins? 1.5 to 3 years. That's average. Why so long? The reasons I gave you. Your CAPE statement is weak. You don't have your DSVS profile. You're not registered in the vendor portal. All that comes under your avenue on how you're going to win. You don't know your buyer. So it's always going to be in that framework that I gave you. So my big promise is to share with you some things you can do and implement today. I'm going to try to give them to you in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And then for anyone that wants more detailed, more what I call eye level, not high level, that means the real nitty-gritty ingredients, then I'll have a way where you can stay with me and understand the workshop that I have called my SMART workshop that might be able to help you. Okay? So let's go into the first thing you need to know. The first thing you need to know is that you can win state contracts, and you want to focus on state contracts doing disaster recovery. Hurricane C started June the 1st to November 30th. There are going to be some changes because the state is going to take up more of the contracts. So that's going to be a difference, is the states are going to be doing more of the heavy lifting. So that means you can do work in various states. You can team up and make sure that you're working. So there's some fast ways. My number one way that I love is the no bidding. That means you're not doing any bidding, and your sweet spot is going to be between 10K and 250. The other one I love is the middleman method, regardless of what you're doing. And my favorite is asset rental. That means that the government is renting it from you and you don't own it. They use that model time and time again. Those are the fastest, easiest ways to win a contract. No bidding, the middleman, and asset rental. Those are the, and when I mean by the no bidding could be disaster recovery contracts. The no bidding could be something with the middleman, something low in that sweet spot. It could be a no bid with the asset rental model, like where you're providing a laundromat, or you're providing for barracks storage, the storage for the pod. Summer is a big season for moves, big season for people moving in the military. I was in the Air Force, so I know they do a lot of moves in this time. And a lot of times they either need someone to come and get them moved, they need them to store the stuff. There's a lot of different things you can do when it comes to the asset rental. So that is a part of it. And this works for any industry that you want to work. So my framework allowed me to create a signature offer, nail down my buyers, select the right avenue, reach and build the right relationships and team up with other winners. And then my focal point was GSA, Veteran Affairs, and Homeland Security. And this is what has helped me do workshops after workshop after workshop in person, as you see me here, or sometimes I do up to 300-400 workshops of people at a time. So I love what I do because it's like, it doesn't feel like work, and I can just imagine how it changes lives because it changed mine. So that's what I love, being able to do the money and the freedom. So let's get started with how to set up the success for your business. The first thing I can't emphasize enough is your requirements for your branding. That is going to always be your capability statement, your capability briefing, your introduction letter, your website. Those are going to be the areas that you're going to do. So your introduction letter, your CAPE statement, your CAPE briefing, your website, and what we would call your elevator pitch. There's 5 areas that are going to be what you need for basic branding for that government buyer to even want you. Now, of course, you're going to give you the high level. You're going to make sure your NAICS codes are right. You're going to make sure when you go into sam.gov that you put in the right NAICS codes, that you know what to select for primary because you only select one, that you put in that you take government credit cards. All of that is a part of setting up your offer. Once you've met your basic requirements, then that's when we create your signature offer. And that's that slam dunk out of the park. That's what set me apart when I was able to come up with my signature offer, which was my Encore Enhanced program. Then my buyers, I really figured them out, which I'm going to give you some examples in a minute. My avenue, that really worked well. I focused on no bidding because I didn't have a lot of past performances. So I did the no bidding under the disaster recovery. I was in the state of Florida. First, I did some prime contracts. I was a subcontractor. That worked well. So my avenue was being a sub. After I was a sub on a project where I knew I wouldn't have known what to do if I weren't a sub, then I became a prime. I was a sub maybe once or twice before I became a prime. And I did do 1 or 2 contracts in the state of Florida, but it was small and it really didn't know what I was doing. But when I started to get my success, I followed this, and my avenue was really simple. No bids between the 10, under 10 and over, between 25 and 250. Then I really started, once I got that, I started really understanding what it meant to send out emails. You have to really know how to script them, how to write them. But the email is what you do to warm them up. If I sent the right email to the buyer, they were calling me because of what I put in the email. That is what I noticed. And they were calling me and they were asking me to set up a capability briefing. And then if I made sure that they were local. So I went to, and I'll share with you in a second, to the VA, or I did a video yesterday. I went to the local VA, Veteran Affairs Medical Office, and got to know them. And I did that yesterday with a client. Just went there. I had sent an email, had the right information, got invited to come there, and the person that made the decision was connected to the person that was in there. So it really makes a difference by sending the email and sending the right information. That starts the whole thing. I probably wouldn't look to just go out, stop by out of the blue. You have to warm them up, then talk to them, then visit them. It's a step process. That's the part of the relationships and then the teaming. So now I'm going to share with you the top 5. All right. So the top 5, number 1 is janitorial and sanitation services. That NAICS code is 561720. Why is this a good one? Because it's reoccurring. It's essential service for government buildings like GSA. It's fast and affordable because you can do routine cleaning, disinfecting, and supply restocking. And it's easy for you to align with OSHA. It's easy for you to separate yourself with a really great signature offer. I can see one in my head right now. And who uses this the most? Veteran Affairs. And they use this at the medical center like I went to yesterday. I stopped in after emailing them and getting a warm introduction. I warmed them up. There's cold, that means they don't know you at all. You take it to the next step by sending them email, that warms them up. And then the next step was seeing them in person. So that is where you want to go. The other one is going to be Department of Interior and GSA are also going to use this. This is number one. Number one. It's fast to get this one. You want to focus on the 10K and under. VA still has the micro purchases where they can do that. They can use it for restocking. They can use it for medical. So that is a good one. You want to focus on your local VA, but you got to say the right thing and you got to know what to say. All right. Can't just go over there. Number two, office supplies and equipment. NAICS code 424120 and 339940. Why is this one a good one? Because agencies need continuous replenishment of desks, toner, paper, etc. This is a good one for fast and affordable because you can drop ship it. You can do bulk options. That's one of the things you can give them. And this can be GSA approved. It can be something that you can use saying environmentally compliant. What agencies use these? VA again, Department of Homeland Security, and Department of Justice. What do they buy? They buy notebooks, they buy pens, they buy paper, they buy envelopes, they buy a lot of that. I know because we sold it. So number two. Number three, IT equipment and basics support services. NAICS code 541519 and 334111. And why is this a good one? Because they like laptops. We have lots of our students that sell laptops. Big one. Routers, basic tech support are always in constant demand. Why is this fast and affordable? Because you can talk about off-the-shelf solutions from known vendors. That can be your thing that you can put within your offer. Speed, a quick act, something like quick accessible. You can easily use the FedRAMP. This is one of the programs that we used. And you can go with FISMA and hardware security requirements. What agencies are using this? Department of Defense, specifically the Army. Specifically the Army. What are they buying? They're, Health and Human Services, and specifically Border Patrol. Big one for border, Customs and Border Patrol, and computers and cybersecurity. There's an agency for cybersecurity called CISA. What are they using this for? Data centers, gathering information, cloud support, big one. The next one, number 4, temporary staffing, one of my favorite. I did this all day, every day. Admin support, NAICS code 561320 and 561110. Why is this a good one? Agency needs surge support for admin, data entry, and event planning all the time, more than you'd be surprised. They want something that's quick, onboarded. They want you to get them all ready. They just want to use them. So if you can onboard, you have a pretty good onboarding system. That is one of the things we did. We had a great onboarding system, worked well. It's really good as long as you kind of like it's real simple law, labor laws, compliant, give them straightforward deliverables. Who needs this? VA, nurses, clerks, medical billing. That's what we did. Medical terminology at one time. Now they do it with the computer, but medical billing was a big one. VA, once again, so far all 3 for VA. Health and Human Services needs it for translators. So if you can find some translators, this is a big one when it comes to staffing. Nursing, there's a lot of admin, all kinds of things you can use for admin when it comes to temporary staffing. The last one is maintenance and light facility repair. That NAICS code is 238220 and 238210. Why is this a good one? Ongoing needs for HVAC, lighting, plumbing, and general repairs in general. It's fast and affordable because it's project-based and it's an on-call thing. So you can really get a lot of on-call maintenance contracts. I love those. And And what I love about it is, it's two of my favorite things that you eventually can scale your business, doing BPAs, blanket purchase agreements, and IDIQs. That's indefinite time, indefinite quantity. I love those. IDIQs are my favorite. What agencies use this? VA. They're always using it in their medical facilities. Another one is GSA, big one. Another one is my favorite, Army Corps of Engineers. They are known for giving small companies a big boost. They're one of the ones that are known for giving small companies opportunities under 250 without doing any having a lot of past performance. So these are the 5 that if you wanted to do something right away, you know who's doing the buying, you know what agencies they are, you know what they're buying. Now, what would you need? Of course, you're going to have to make sure that you have your case statement looking good. You're going to have to make sure that your branding looks good. You're going to have to make sure that you have your scripts in place, like we give our students scripts, email script, phone script, follow-up script, specifically for each one of these. There's a script just for janitorial, what to say, how to say it, how to create your signature offer, just for office supplies, just for IT, just for staffing, and just for maintenance. So that's how specific you want to be, and that's what we provide for our students. Now, I mentioned earlier that we weren't going to, wasn't going to keep you on here long. All of this is as of right now. These are what they need right now, and this is what you can provide. Now, my favorite is, we talked about the basic marketing. So here we are of where you are in the process. Hopefully, you know that this works. Hopefully, you know that, but you have to do the work. You have to do the follow-up. You have to make sure that your marketing, your basic marketing has to write. Keywords are important. You've got to know that OBART system and follow it to a T. And then you're going to have either a good experience, you're going to start sending out enough emails, you're going to start getting feedback, and then you're going to have a different story. And then you get to that new epiphany, and you're like, well, you know what? I sent out 25 and I got 3 back. It does work. I hear that all the time. Miss M, it does work. Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. So focus on that one thing. What is that one thing I talk about that you're going to be really great at? That one signature offer, that one buyer, that one Naics code, that one way that you want, your numerous ways you want to win, but all into one avenue. And then building those relationships. What one way you're going to look at building relationships and teaming? Try it for 6 weeks. Try the 1-1-1-1-1 for 6 weeks. See how it works, and then see where you need to pivot, because you're not going to know unless you do it. So I always say, you guys can do this, but it might be a challenge. It might be hard to know where to start. It might be hard to know if it's going to work. You can try it, and then it takes you a long time. You get no results. So, of course, what you look at is a framework that someone else has used that's been successful. So that's one of the things I like to offer. And so I offer our workshop. It's called SMART. Our SMART workshop has state contracts in there. So we're teaching you how to get state contracts using AI. It is where you're looking for disaster recovery state contracts. We're registered in several states that have hurricanes. So we don't guarantee any contracts. We don't know you yet. We don't know your company, but we do work with our students to place them if they're a good fit. So we're the prime, and then you would be the sub. So we do help you team up, because we have a Facebook group with thousands of people, about 5,000 or 6,000. You also get a private group as well. We also have a bid platform that helps you find the bids. I'll share that with you in a second. We have small accountability groups, resource vault with templates and cheat sheets all in it, on-demand training for 24/7 access. You get it for lifetime, live coaching from our expert team, and we nailed down a lot using ChatGPT. So this we call our SMART workshop. We concentrate on state, the middleman, regardless of what you're doing with the middleman, how to vet them, which ones work best for the middleman, where to find the middleman opportunities. Then we look at your avenue. We really focus on the asset avenue, renting it but not owning. And then we look at the other avenue of the no bidding. Those are the basic ones we look at. building that relationship so that they can find you and they want to give you a no bid, and then teaming. That's our SMART workshop. So that is what we provide to you. Our SMART workshop has been great. We've gotten some really, 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 really great results if you've seen some of our students. And we still teach you a lot about disaster relief. And 2 weeks in our bid, over 1,000 of opportunities. We don't talk about the mindset, and that is what you receive. So our workshop is valued like $697. You get on-demand platform, 2-day workshop, or 90 days, or I'm sorry, 90 minutes with a live like me. So after you've gone through the on-demand, which I'll share with you in a second, then you actually do the 90 minutes. The 90 minutes where we get into finding the opportunities. A lot of times we find them while you're on there with us. We also show you how to do state contracts, not just disaster recovery, but the other ones as well, how to find those bid platforms, because some people don't only want to do federal. 2 weeks to our bid modules, and this is for $297 for the next 20 minutes. And you would just look for the link in the chat. That's what we're doing with the AI and all of the different things, because we know that we want to make sure that you're able to be successful winning a contract. So our platform looks like this. And like I said, you would have it all the time. So it's like, let me see if I can get to it. Here we go. So this is our actual school platform, which I love. That's what it looks like, our SMART workshop introduction. It goes all the way through there. And I think it's like about 6 hours of training. You go through there, you get to the bottom of it, and then that's when you're signing up for every month. We have our live, and then we break you into small groups. Then you're available to do any subcontracting with me. Don't guarantee it, because I have to vet you and make sure that you have everything that you need to make sure you're able to work under us as a sub. So that's why I can't guarantee that. We will guarantee that we will interview you, but I can't guarantee you that you will get the position. But we do teach you how to find contracts in your state. This is our bid platform that we provide. That's how you can go down to the agency. This is all of the contracts. You can narrow it down to your state. You can narrow it down to all kind of agencies. It's like really nice. And you just click onto it on the blue part, and you could put what you're looking for at the top. So if you were looking for facility support, spell it right, services, you would put that in here, and it would tell you there's 98 opportunities for that. You can narrow down to your county, what agency. If you're buyer, you can find your buyers in here. So you have 2 weeks of this. This is valued at, I think it's $100 something a month. So you get 2 weeks with that for free. And then you get our school on demand. And then also you receive our complete, this is sort of like our app, where you get all of the classes, previous classes for the last couple of years, access for all the cheat sheets, all the training templates, scripts, what to say, everything. And we also help you with your signature offer. So if anyone's interested, I'm going to put the link inside of here. And if you have any questions, what it would look like is you would submit the payment. And then once you submit the payment, you would then get the welcome email. And the welcome email will welcome you. You would then have immediate access to what I just showed you, the school platform. I think our next live is on the 12th of June. You can come to as many lives as you want. Then we break you into small groups, so that way you can do teaming. So if someone's in Texas and you want to team with them, and then you also can team with us. We just don't guarantee anything as far as guaranteeing you a contract under us, because we have to, like I said, we got to know what your skill set is. Make sure you have your insurance, all of that. We have to make sure, but we do definitely give you opportunities. I am in Florida. I go there at least probably, if not once a month, every other month. So I reside in DC, Maryland, Virginia, but my base is actually in Florida, because that's where I started my business, Encore Facilities Management. And then it changed to Encore Services Group, because we started adding a lot. So that is what I have for you today. Do you guys have any questions at all? I would love to have some of you as my students. where we can give you all of the eye level, because I gave you the high level. That's the scripts, all of it. And I love using AI because we actually give you phone numbers and email addresses where you're sending them out. I mean, you're getting the action right away. Any questions at all on our smart workshop? Anything about anything on I think you would have to raise your hand because I have you muted. So any questions at all? Okay. Well, since there are no questions, I am not going to keep you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And I think that that smart asset part with renting the assets is a great one. We've had a lot of success for our students with that. So hopefully you guys will try some of those. And I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.